Welcome to our deep dive, into George Orwell's Animal Farm.
Right.
Um, this book, it's not just like a cute farmyard story with talking animals, right?
Oh, it's definitely not.
This thing is like, it's a political satire, and it really hits hard.
Yeah, it's amazing how deceptively simple it is.
Yeah.
Like on the surface, you've got this, pretty straightforward story about animals, rebelling against their human farmer.
All right.
But Orwell is doing something much deeper here.
Yeah.
He's really dissecting power and revolution and how tyranny works.
And it's really interesting to think about the timing of this book, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking 1945, so the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time when, the world was really grappling with the horrors of totalitarianism.
Yeah, I mean, Orwell himself had witnessed firsthand the dangers of fascism
Right.
and Stalinism. So, Animal Farm is kind of a warning.
Yeah.
He's using this, animal fable to explore how easily good intentions can get twisted and how power can corrupt even those who start out as idealistic or revolutionaries.
Yeah, that's so true. So let's get into the actual story of Animal Farm.
Okay.
The story starts on Manor Farm,
Right.
and it's ruled over by this often drunk and neglectful farmer named Mr. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And the animals, they're overworked,
Yeah.
mistreated, and they're just longing for something better.
It's that classic setup, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
downtrodden masses yearning for a better life.
Yeah, and then in steps, Old Major,
Yeah.
this wise old pig,
Yeah.
and he really sparks that rebellion.
He's the one who ignites it. Yeah.
He lays out this vision of an animal-run farm free from human tyranny,
Mm-hmm.
and the other animals are just captivated by it.
Totally. And his speech is incredible.
Yeah,
He talks about equality,
yeah,
all animals working together for the common good.
right.
And then there's that song, Beasts of England,
Oh, yeah.
which becomes their anthem.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's catchy, it's emotional,
Yeah.
and it really encapsulates that deep longing for a utopia.
But what's interesting? Even at this early stage,
Right.
Orwell is already hinting at the potential for things to go wrong.
Really? How so?
Well, pay attention to how the animals react to Old Major's speech in the song.
Okay.
Some of them, sing with real passion.
Yeah.
Others seem kind of confused.
Uh-huh.
And some, like the cat, just don't seem to care at all.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So he's already kind of foreshadowing some of the divisions and complexities that are going to come up later.
Exactly. He's setting the stage for the challenges that the revolution will face.
So for now, though, the rebellion is a success, right?
Yes.
The animals, driven by their anger,
Mm-hmm.
they come together, they drive out Mr. Jones,
Mm-hmm.
and they take control of the farm.
It's a moment of pure euphoria for them.
Oh, yeah?
They rename it Animal Farm.
Wow.
They destroy all the symbols of human oppression,
Mm-hmm.
and they establish the 7 commandments of animalism.
Right, which are basically their constitution.
Yeah, they're guiding principles for a just and equal society. Yeah, and these principles seem so promising,
Yeah.
Like all animals are equal,
Mhm.
no animal shall kill another animal,
Right.
no animal shall drink alcohol, and things like that.
It all sounds so idealistic.
I know, but as we know, things don't stay so idyllic for long.
Sadly, no, you're right. Cracks start to appear pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And the pigs, because they're the smartest animals,
Yeah.
they gradually start taking charge.
Right.
And 3 pigs in particular,
Okay.
Snowball, Napoleon, and Squealer, they emerge as the leaders.
Interesting.
And each of them has their own interpretation of Old Major's vision.
So it's really interesting to see how their personalities clash, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Snowball, he's like super energetic,
Mm-hmm.
idealistic, always coming up with new ideas for improving the farm.
He's all about progress.
Exactly. And then you've got Napoleon.
Yeah,
He's much more cunning,
Uh-huh.
more Machiavellian.
definitely.
He's operating kind of behind the scenes,
Yeah.
consolidating his power through these subtle manipulations.
And a bit of intimidation, too.
Right. And then, of course, there's Squealer.
Ah, Squealer, the master of propaganda.
Yeah. He's so good at twisting the truth.
He's a pro at using language to justify the pig's actions.
Like when the pigs start taking all the milk and apples for themselves,
Right.
and they say it's for the good of the farm.
Classic power move. They appeal to the greater good while they're actually just, feathering their own nests.
Exactly. And Squealer, he's really good at playing on the animals' fears, too.
Oh, yeah. He knows how to push their buttons.
He'll tell them that if they don't let the pigs have the best food,
Right.
then Mr. Jones might come back.
And that terrifies them.
I know it's scary how effective that is.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting worse from there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The pigs slowly change the 7 commandments.
Yep. Little by little, they chip away at them.
Like they add with sheets to the rule about sleeping in beds.
Right.
And they always have these twisted justifications for everything.
This is where Orwell's satire is just brilliant.
I know.
He's showing us how language can be manipulated to serve the powerful.
Yeah.
How truth can be bent and reshaped to fit a particular agenda.
That's so true. And then things really come to a head with this big showdown between Snowball and Napoleon.
Oh, yeah. That's a pivotal moment in the story.
So Snowball has this grand vision for building a windmill.
He wants to modernize the farm, bring in electricity, make life easier for everyone.
Right. He represents progress and innovation.
Exactly. But Napoleon sees him as a threat.
Of course.
And he's been secretly training this pack of ferocious dogs.
Yeah, the dogs are scary.
They're like a chilling symbol of state terror, ready to be unleashed on anyone who dares to challenge Napoleon's authority.
And so Napoleon uses them to drive Snowball off the farm.
That's right. And that's a major turning point in the story.
It's brutal.
From that moment on, Animal Farm really descends into outright tyranny.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even revolutions with the best intentions can be corrupted, especially when you've got power-hungry individuals who are willing to exploit others.
Exactly. They'll use any means necessary to achieve their own ends.
And as we move forward in the book,
Yeah.
we're going to see just how bad things get.
We'll see how the pigs consolidate their control and how the other animals trapped in this web of fear and propaganda,
Yeah,
they actually become complicit in their own oppression.
it's a really powerful story.
It's a story that has a lot to teach us about human nature and the dangers of power. It's really kind of amazing how fast that early hope and enthusiasm just vanishes as Napoleon takes over.
Yeah, no, it's really sad, especially for someone like Boxer,
Oh, yeah.
who, he really believes in everything.
He really buys into it hook, line, and sinker.
And he's just working himself to death, literally.
Yeah. Boxer is such a tragic figure,
He is.
He represents that blind faith
Yeah.
and unwavering loyalty that you see so often with people in power.
And how easily that gets exploited.
Exactly. I mean, think about his mottos.
Oh, yeah, I will work harder.
Yeah, I will work harder.
Napoleon is always right.
Napoleon is always right. I mean, that just shows you.
It's like he can't even question anything.
Right. Even when what the pigs are doing is totally against the principles of animalism.
It's like he's blind to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, that makes him the perfect tool for Napoleon.
Oh, yeah, he's totally taking advantage of him.
Of course he is. Boxer becomes the symbol of the exploited working class, always pushing himself to the limit,
Right.
producing more and more,
Right.
believing that somehow all this hard work is going to lead to a better life for everybody.
But it never does.
It never does. The pigs, they're living in luxury.
Yeah, they are.
And Boxer and the others are just slaving away.
And this is where I think Orwell's commentary on the Russian Revolution is so important.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, you can really see Animal Farm as an allegory for the rise of Stalin.
Definitely Napoleon taking over. Using those dogs as his own personal secret police.
Right.
The show trials.
The executions.
Yeah. All of that mirrors exactly what Stalin did.
Yeah.
Eliminating his rivals and controlling everything.
So does that mean like Snowball represents Trotsky then?
Yeah, you could definitely see it that way. I mean,
Right.
Snowball's driven out, right?
Right.
And he was this idealistic leader who wanted to educate the animals, bring in technology, make things better for everyone.
Okay, yeah. And Napoleon saw that as a direct threat.
Exactly. And just like Stalin turned Trotsky into this scapegoat, blaming him for everything.
Okay.
That's what Napoleon does with Snowball.
Yeah.
Rewriting history, making Snowball the villain.
So it's all about propaganda.
It's a brilliant example of how you can manipulate people.
Yeah.
You just keep feeding them this narrative about how terrible Snowball is.
Right.
And pretty soon, nobody even remembers the truth.
And it works.
It's so effective. The animals, especially the sheep, they just blindly accept whatever Napoleon says,
Oh, yeah.
chanting their slogans, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
They don't even think for themselves.
The sheep are interesting.
They are.
They're like this representation of the unthinking masses,
Okay.
easily manipulated by propaganda,
Right.
incapable of thinking for themselves,
Right.
and their constant leading.
Yeah.
It drowns out any other voices.
So nobody can even speak up.
Exactly. It creates this atmosphere where critical thinking is impossible.
And that's what's so scary about it.
It is. It's scary.
It's like Orwell is showing us how easy it is to control people,
yeah.
just using fear and misinformation.
Right. You can create a society where nobody questions the people in charge. And it's not even just political propaganda either.
Oh, really?
Orwell's also exploring how language itself can be used to deceive us.
Like how Squealer keeps changing the 7 commandments.
Exactly. He's always twisting the wording to justify whatever the pigs are doing.
So words like equal and free.
Right? They start to lose all meaning.
Yeah.
And the other animals, they don't even realize what's happening.
It's like they've been brainwashed or something.
In a way, they have. I mean, Orwell's showing how insidious propaganda can be.
Yeah.
It gets into your mind without you even knowing it.
And it changes how you see the world.
Exactly. And it's not just about the words themselves either.
What else is it about?
It's about rewriting history.
Oh, yeah.
Changing the narrative of the rebellion to fit the pigs' version of events.
Controlling information.
Absolutely. It's crucial for any authoritarian regime.
Right.
You erase the truth or you distort it.
And then you can control people.
Exactly. You control the narrative and people start believing whatever story you're telling them.
Yeah.
And the pigs are really good at this.
They are.
They constantly tell the animals how much better off they are now compared to when Mr. Jones was in charge.
Yeah.
They focus on the tiny little benefits of the revolution and they just ignore all the bad stuff.
The injustice, the suffering.
It's like they're gaslighting the whole farm.
It really is.
They've created this alternate reality where they're the heroes.
Right.
Snowball's the villain. And any problems are either ignored or justified somehow.
It's terrifying how well this works.
Yeah, it really is. Even the animals who see what's going on, they can't quite reconcile it.
Like Clover.
Yeah, Clover's a good example.
Yeah.
She's one of the more perceptive animals, but even she struggles with it.
Yeah.
She remembers the rebellion,
Right.
but she can't quite make sense of what's happening now.
Yeah, it's like she's caught between those two realities.
Exactly. And then you've got Benjamin.
Oh, yeah, the donkey.
He's a fascinating character.
Yeah.
He sees right through the pigs from the very beginning.
He does.
But he's so cynical. He doesn't believe anything can really change.
Or he just watches everything fall apart.
Yeah, and his silence is almost as bad as the pigs' propaganda.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like he's given up hope.
And that's exactly what the pigs want.
Of course they want the animals to feel helpless.
Yeah.
Like there's no point in resisting.
Right.
That's how they stay in control.
So what does this all mean for us then?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, why should we care about these talking animals?
Because Animal Farm is more than just a simple story.
It's a warning, right?
It's a warning about power.
Okay.
About how easily freedom can be lost.
Yeah.
And how even the best intentions can go wrong.
So it's a reminder to be vigilant.
Exactly.
To never take our freedom for granted.
And to always question the people in charge.
Right, because tyranny can come in many forms.
It can look very different in different situations.
And even revolutions can be corrupted.
They absolutely can.
So we have to be careful.
We do. We have to be critical thinkers.
Yeah.
We have to seek out the truth.
Right.
And we can't be afraid to speak up against injustice.
This deep dive has really made me think about Animal Farm in a whole new way. It's amazing how such a simple story can be so relevant to our lives.
Orwell was a genius. He could take these complex ideas and present them in a way that was engaging and thought-provoking.
Yeah. And by looking at the characters in Animal Farm, I think we can learn a lot about ourselves.
I agree.
About human nature.
About how power works.
And about the struggle for freedom.
Exactly. And before we wrap up, I think it's worth taking a closer look at some of the individual characters.
Okay.
Especially those who really shaped the fate of Animal Farm.
Okay, so we've talked about the big picture stuff, right?
Yeah.
The historical parallels,
Yeah.
you know, that chilling descent into tyranny.
Right, right.
But I think what really makes Animal Farm so unforgettable is the characters themselves.
Oh, totally.
These animals that are, you know, they're familiar in a way, but they're also so unique.
Yeah, and Orwell's a master at this.
At what?
At using these animal archetypes to really represent, you know, human nature, like all of our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Our capacity for good and bad.
So let's start with Napoleon.
Okay.
I mean, he is like the ultimate example of ambition gone wrong.
Yeah. He starts out maybe with good intentions.
Okay.
But pretty quickly, he just gets drunk on power.
And what's interesting is, like, we never really know what he's thinking.
Right. We never get inside his head.
Yeah. Orwell keeps him at a distance.
Yeah.
And it just makes him seem even more menacing.
Totally. He's like this force of nature.
Yeah.
Just driven by this need to control everything.
And he'll use violence, too.
Oh, yeah, without hesitation.
Like those dogs.
Oh, my God.
The dogs, his personal enforcers.
They're terrifying.
Right.
They're like the embodiment of state terror, you know? Always lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce on anyone who steps out of line.
So smart the way Orwell uses those dogs.
Yeah.
And then you've got Squealer.
Squealer?
The ultimate spin doctor.
He's the master manipulator.
Yeah, he's the one who comes up with all the justifications for Napoleon's actions.
Yeah, and he's so good at it.
I know he's charming. He's articulate.
And completely ruthless.
Yeah, he knows that if you control the language, you control how people think.
Exactly.
It's like he's constantly gaslighting the other animals.
He is.
Making them question their own memories.
Yeah, and their perceptions of reality.
That's crazy.
It is, and he plays on their fears, you know?
Yeah.
Their insecurities, their need for simple answers. And if you repeat a lie often enough, people start to believe it.
So it's a reminder to be critical thinkers. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
To question everything.
Yeah, and to look for different perspectives.
Don't just accept things at face value.
Exactly.
But you know, in all of this darkness, there's also Boxer.
Boxer.
The poor guy.
He's the heart of the story in a way.
He's the one who really believes in the revolution. And he works so hard.
To the point of exhaustion.
Literally to the point of death.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And his slogans, I will work harder.
Yeah.
Napoleon is always right.
They're so tragic.
They are, because it shows you how easily good intentions can be manipulated.
Yeah, someone with a good heart can be so easily taken advantage of.
And what happens to him is just devastating.
I know, after all that work,
Yeah.
he gets injured. And they send him off to the knackers.
Like he meant nothing to them.
He was expendable.
Yeah.
Another reminder that in a totalitarian system, individuals don't matter.
It's all about power.
Exactly.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this?
Well, I think Animal Farm is really a cautionary tale about how fragile freedom is.
Yeah.
How good intentions can go so wrong and how power corrupts.
So it's a reminder to be vigilant.
Absolutely.
Never take our freedom for granted.
Yeah.
And question authority. Animal Farm is a book that really makes you think.
It does.
And it stays with you.
Yeah, it makes you question things.
About human nature.
About the systems we create.
And it leaves you with this feeling like we have to do something.
Like we can't let this happen in the real world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Animal Farm.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you learned something.
Yeah.
And we hope you'll keep thinking about these ideas.
And maybe read the book yourself.
Yeah, it's worth it.